friends, do you guys want a seedling update? I don't know if you want a seedling update, but I am prepared to give you a seedling update. So here we go. So these little seedling bebes are going to be staying in my house just a little bit longer than expected. Minnesota is about to have a cold snap on basically over Mother's Day weekend. So the weekend that we would normally want to plant, not a really good idea to put these out quite yet. So we're gonna possibly, there's a danger of frost. So definitely don't want to get these guys in the ground and then have them freeze. So they're gonna hang out in my apartment for just about an extra week, which shouldn't be too terrible because they've been doing really well indoors. So I recently thinned out the kale seedlings so that there were only like one or two to a little grow pot here. That's to ensure that they have enough space to grow a little bit bigger. They are on the smaller side right now, I think. That's probably a lot to do with the light that I have been able to give them. But they are doing fairly well. Some of them are a little bit stressed out still. I know these are like the first leaves. So the secondary leaves, the new growth is looking healthy. So kale, I am excited about. The chard, I also thinned out. So they're like 1 per pot, 2 max. Do have some romaine lettuce seedlings here that I grew indoors and started. I did sow, I direct sowed some extra romaine seeds into the garden about a week ago, I want to say. We did this last weekend. Also, okra's doing really well, still the only okra, but it had, it continues to put out leaves, so I feel like that's healthy. And then I planted in a couple extra grow pots that I had, I planted some pea seeds. We did direct sow peas outdoors, but I also wanted to see if I could start a couple as backup really, which is a good thing apparently because we are getting a frost potentially. Well, hopefully not. I think the low is going to dip to maybe 34, 35, which makes me super nervous. But anyway, we have peas. And then the last little thing I wanted to show you over here is where I started that wheatgrass experiment. And as you can see, however many days ago that was, I think it was just a day or two ago, if I am doing my math correctly. But it's already sprouting. Wheatgrass. It's too bad I'm not going to be able to harvest any of this. Not saying that I couldn't, but I just don't really want to because it's not organic. It came out of a hay bale that was sold, for not the purposes of eating. So nah, we'll just let it grow. Have some wheatgrass in the house. So it is Sunday, it's Mother's Day. This is a day we'd normally be planting the rest of this garden, but instead we are covering it up because our low tonight is supposed to be below freezing, and it's supposed to be below freezing tomorrow night as well. So everything that we planted within the last couple of weeks is at risk of freezing. So this is what we're doing. Minor setback, courtesy of Minnesota spring. Awesome. It's time to get this uncovered, and hopefully we won't have any issues with frost anymore this season. So I'm going to uncover these right now, and then I'll show you how things are doing. So here is the aftermath. I think everything survived. I'm not sure. I'm going to do a quick check here. Potato, 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 little potato, cute. All right, got potatoes. Kohlrabi looks good. Phew. Would have been sad to lose these. Okay, good. Everything's looking pretty good. I think, what is this? That might be a squash. Don't really see any other sign of anything sprouting over here, but that might be a squash. I'll have to check back. Onions look okay. So these are, I think, technically cool weather crops. The onions, the kohlrabi, and the broccoli and cauliflower. So that looks good. Optimistic. Feeling optimistic now. Let's check. Alright. Wait a second. What? Carrots? I think the carrots are up, you guys. In spite of a maybe frost, we have carrots. Come on. Awesome. Oh my god, that's so awesome. So awesome. Yes. Broccoli, cauliflower, looking good. Radishes, looking good. I did thin these out already before the frost warning, so that's cool. Look like they made it. Over here, peas. We had these little peas pop up, so we did cover these also, just to make sure they didn't freeze. Oh, well, can't win them all, can we? Yeah. Cucumbers, kind of notoriously temperamental. They're really thirsty, they don't do well in the cold. Surprised by this though. Zucchini's looking okay. Not bad. Alright. So guys, this is the overview. I'm hoping to get the rest of the stuff in pretty quick here once things warm up. Hi, this is an update. You might notice, if you have seen my other plant tours in my apartment in previous videos, that this area of my house is kind of my breakfast bar area. I have a half wall that separates kind of my office area from my kitchen and built a breakfast bar there. You can tell this area looks a little bit different right now. And that is because I have an awesome grow light right here. I've kind of set up additional grow lights because I am temporarily housing our remaining vegetables that are going to be going into the garden. Minnesota spring is notoriously temperamental. So last night we were in a frost danger. We were looking at lows overnight below freezing. So we covered up our garden out there, but when I say we, I mean my mom and I. So covered up the garden, and whatever vegetables we had planted out there already seemed to be doing okay, with the exception of our cucumber. So I had to pick up a new cucumber, and while I was there, I went ahead and got the majority of the rest of the veggies that'll be going in. So, and I got them from my local garden center. And then I just decided this is kind of gonna be the new garden station for at least a couple of days while we wait for this cool weather, this cold snap to pass, which it's expected to midweek. So hopefully this will mean we'll be able to get these awesome veggies in the ground relatively soon. So I have a few different variety of tomato picked up. We always get a sweet yellow cherry tomato, or it's a yellow pear tomato for my grandma. She loves those tomatoes, so I always grow them for her and bring her over cartloads. We also got a large red cherry. We got a Roma variety, and then we also got a big boy, the big beef steak. So that'll be good. There's that new cucumber. And then I also picked up an eggplant. It's an Ichiban eggplant. I grew this last year. I love eggplant, and the Ichiban varieties are so easy to grow and easy to cook, and it's a very compact little plant. So, well, I say little, but it gets fairly large. So glad to pick one of those up. And then over here I've got pepper. We kind of had some freedom. It was decided that I'd get to pick the peppers. So picked up, for hot peppers, have a poblano here, which I guess it's a mild chili pepper, I should say. So it's not like a super spicy, but it does have some chili flavor, maybe a little bit of heat. I got a poblano, and then I picked up jalapenos, which can never have too many jalapenos in my opinion. Then picked up some bell peppers too. Got, I think, one of each color. I got a red, an orange, and a green. Moving down here, picked up today also some herbs. So got some sweet basil, cilantro, rosemary, and then gonna have to probably go back and pick up some flat leaf parsley because they didn't have any currently in their garden center. Update on the wheatgrass, that's doing pretty darn well. Planted this on, or I started to seed this on May 4th. This is when I planted this. It is doing really well. Don't know what I'm going to do with it. Probably not going to eat it because it was not sourced organically. Then over here are my seedlings. So these guys I grew from seed. Some of you remember the germination test. So we've got kale, romaine, chard, okra, and little baby peas. So cute. I can't wait to get these in the ground too. I've been putting this off just because the weather, they wouldn't make it if I planted them. So hopefully this week is the goal. At least by the weekend it should be warm enough. It's raining. Yay! So my lens is probably all sorts of foggy, but just wanted to show you what was up. Okay guys, come on in. A lot of the remaining vegetables I got into the ground yesterday on Friday afternoon. It was a really nice afternoon and it's raining today and tomorrow, so I got them in yesterday. They'll get a nice drenching today and tomorrow. So let me just show you what's going on. Over here is where I put the eggplant. And then also the okra will go over here too. The seedling's still kind of small, so I'm waiting a couple of days, but I'm giving it space because they get really tall. And then zucchini, looking good. Radishes are looking really, really good. I've thinned these out once already. And then over here is where the lettuce did not come up from direct sow. So I'm going to put my seedlings in here. I'm going to see if I can transplant those and get them in that row. Poblano pepper, jalapenos. I have 4 jalapeno plants and 3 bell pepper plants right there. And then my cute little peas. Good job, peas. And then over here, broccoli and cauliflower, which are getting so big already. Doing really well. Next row over is the new cucumber plant, and then my tomatoes. Cherry in the center. And then my carrots came up, as you can see. That's great. We'll definitely have to thin those out once they get a little bigger. Glad they came up though. They're kind of slow. And then these 2 next rows are Walla Walla onions, but as you can see, there's some additional green popping up. That is the wheat from the straw that we used for covering. It did sprout in places. It's active wheat, so they're kind of weeds at this point. It's just kind of neat that they're growing. I guess that means our soil's good. So 2 rows of Walla Walla onions, and then here are my kohlrabi. I have 6 or 8 plants. I think I have 8 kohlrabi, and those are doing really well too. Cold weather crops. I did get some marigolds today, so I put those in the ground kind of haphazardly. Oh, guys, check out this potato. Check out this potato. Oh my gosh. So these are grocery store russet potatoes. They normally don't recommend using grocery store potatoes as seed potatoes because 9 out of 10 times they don't really sprout very well. These ones did great. So I decided to try an experiment. They did sprout, so I put them in the ground, and this is what's going on. 4 out of my 5 seed potatoes have sprouted. Awesome. You guys, I planted my blueberries. They are in planters temporarily. I would like to get these into soil, into the garden somewhere at some point this summer. And then I also picked up some impatiens here. I love having flowers on my patio. I love having a hanging basket or 2 of flowers. So I got these white impatiens just to kind of keep it simple. I might add some color later on, but I love these flowers. They're so pretty. So pretty. Good evening, everybody. It is Saturday night as I'm filming this. That's May 16th. And I just wanted to pop in and kind of give you some last minute thoughts. I think this is kind of it for my gardening series. I got pretty much 90% of the planting done Friday evening and then today. So I'm really pleased with the way the garden's looking, as you saw from the footage earlier today that I filmed in the rain. It's definitely going to be raining for the next couple of days here, so things in the garden will get a good soak, and then it's supposed to be in the 80s next week, which, holy cow, we went from a frost advisory to 80 degrees. We're basically to summer now. Kind of final thoughts. I got everything in that I was hoping to, except the seedlings. I have not planted the seedlings yet. I am going to get those in, if not tomorrow, if there's a break in the weather, then probably Monday, when it really starts to get nice and warm. They are still on the small side, so I definitely don't want to, compromise them. I have been acclimating them, so they've been sitting outside for increasing amounts of time during the day, and I think that should go well. So I'll be putting in the kale and the chard, and then also my okra's going in. I'm going to try and get the lettuce in. I have some romaine lettuce that came up indoors in my starter little garden over here over my shoulder, but they didn't come up in the ground when I direct sowed, so that's kind of interesting. Not really sure why. They were older seeds too. They were at least a year or 2 old. I did run to my local garden center today, or my local greenhouse and nursery in Minnetonka that I thoroughly enjoy and love, Tonkadale. And that was an interesting experience too. Kind of a side note from the vegetable garden stuff. I ran there because I needed potting soil for my houseplants. I get my espoma soil mixes there. I also needed some terracotta, which I did pick up. A couple different sizes. I love this pot, actually. It's kind of a different look than what I usually end up purchasing. I do the traditional kind of tapered pots that look like this, but I got a few different sizes, and then I got the corresponding trays with the ceramic glaze on the inside to protect your tabletops. Highly recommend those if you can find them, if you're using terracotta indoors. So I had to pick up those kind of necessities. I also found this little gem. They had put on their social media that they were carrying these like a day or 2 ago. This is the Aspidistra eleator, or cast iron plant. It's the Milky Way cultivar. So these speckles you see on that are natural. It's part of the plant. So it's kind of a variegation, if you will, or form of variegation, which that is on my wish list, a cast iron plant that is variegated. So this is kind of a step in that direction, but I was really excited that they carried these and I wanted to pick one up while I was there. So that was serendipitous. I also got some flowers for my patio. I got a couple of hanging baskets of white impatiens, which are dog safe. So those are out there braving the elements right now. I also potted up my top hat blueberries, which I did show you in an earlier clip also, which are also kind of taking a drenching right now. I should probably move those closer to the house. Yeah, it's really coming down. Once I get my chard and kale and okra and lettuce seedlings transplanted, we'll see how those do. That's another kind of grand experiment. Everything else is looking really good. The cool weather crops that I planted well, it's a few weeks ago now, they're doing phenomenally well. Didn't lose a plant. The tomato and peppers have only been in the ground about 24 hours at this point. They were looking good, but again, maybe a little too early to draw any conclusions there. I'll post updates on Instagram, so if you're not following me on Instagram, there's my handle. Come find me there. I'll definitely post updates there as things start to grow up, which is my favorite part, is probably around June things get cool. And so hopefully we'll have a crop of veggies soon. Thank you guys for coming with me on this. I know that there are quite a few plant tubers out there who are also very much passionate about veggie gardening and growing their own food. So I'm going to link a couple of people below in the description so you can check out their springtime gardening endeavors also. All right, guys, that's it from me. I hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend, and I will see you soon.